I once believed my manager held the keys to my worth, that every nod of approval was oxygen, every criticism was death, every performance review was judgment day. You know this prison, don't you? That suffocating feeling when your self-esteem rises and falls with someone else's opinion of your quarterly performance. The symptoms are unmistakable. Your heart races when the boss walks by. Your stomach drops when you see their name in your inbox. You've memorized their facial expressions like sacred texts, interpreting every raised eyebrow as divine judgment. Your entire emotional life has become a performance for an audience of one. The lie whispers in corporate hierarchies and performance metrics. Authority figures grant your worth. Your manager's opinion defines your possibilities. The system above you determines your value. The hierarchy has colonized the very source of your self-esteem. Robert, a senior analyst in Denver, spent 5 years optimizing his personality for his director's approval. He adjusted his communication style, his creative choices, his very sense of humor to match what he thought she wanted. When he finally earned her praise, he discovered he'd forgotten who he actually was. His authentic self had been sacrificed on the altar of approval. The lie only lives if you breathe it. This isn't about getting better at managing up. It's about remembering that your worth was never up for management. Your need for approval is actually a confession that you've forgotten your own authority. You feel it in your chest right now, that tightness when you think about your manager's opinion, the way your shoulders tense when you imagine their criticism, the subtle panic when you realize your self-worth has become a quarterly KPI. Your dignity has become a performance review. But what if the entire premise is backwards? What if authority figures don't grant your worth? They reveal your amnesia about it. Immanuel Kant sits in his study not as an academic, but as a philosopher who watched humans surrender their autonomy to false fathers. He sees sapere aude being traded for approval addiction. Sapere aude, dare to know, whispers its revolutionary truth. Your worth isn't granted by authority, it's discovered through self-knowledge. The approval you seek isn't protecting you from worthlessness, it's preventing you from discovering your own authority. Your anxiety about your boss's opinion reveals exactly what you've forgotten about your inherent dignity. When did you last make a decision based on your own authority? When did you last trust your judgment over your manager's opinion? When did you last feel your worth without external validation? Your autonomy has become a second shadow, following every choice, darkening every moment of authentic expression with approval, anxiety. The foreshadow arrives like smoke. What you're optimizing isn't your performance, it's your own self-betrayal. The more you adjust yourself for approval, the more efficiently you destroy your authentic self. You're not building a career, you're building a mausoleum for your real identity. Immanuel Kant enters your story not as a theorist, but as a witness to humanity's self-betrayal. He walks through modern offices where humans anxiously adjust their personalities for authority figures, forgetting that true dignity comes from autonomous reason. He watches as sapere aude is sacrificed on the altar of approval. Sapere aude, dare to know, whispers its ancient wisdom. Authority is not the source of your worth, it's the test of your autonomy. Your need for approval is a newborn lie, barely centuries old. But the human dignity it destroys, that's eternal. The anxiety you feel isn't about your boss, it's about your amnesia. The 3 uncomfortable truths arrive like hammer blows. First, every adjustment you make for approval is a small death of your authentic self. Second, your anxiety about authority reveals exactly what you've forgotten about your own sovereignty. Third, the day you achieve perfect approval will be the day you become perfectly false. Maria, a project manager in Chicago, spent 4 years becoming the perfect employee for her VP. She adjusted her communication style, her decision-making, her very personality to match what she thought he wanted. When she finally earned his trust, she discovered she'd become a hollow reflection of his preferences. Her authentic self had been optimized away. The lie goes deeper than your performance optimization. It's not that you need better approval strategies, it's that the entire framework is identity genocide. You're not managing your relationship with authority. You're systematically destroying your capacity for autonomous action. But the lie goes deeper still. Beneath your approval, anxiety lurks a more sophisticated trap. The entire system is engineered to make you forget that authority is an illusion, that your worth is inherent, that your dignity is non-negotiable. Your submission has become your identity. Enter Erich Fromm, not as the escape theorist, but as the philosopher who watched humans surrender their freedom to false fathers. He observes modern workers anxiously seeking approval from authority figures while forgetting they were born free. He sees escape from freedom being perfected in corporate hierarchies. Escape from freedom whispers its paradoxical truth. The authority you seek isn't protecting you from freedom, it's protecting you from the responsibility of being fully human. Your need for approval reveals not your inadequacy, but your fear of your own power. The boss isn't your father, your fear is. Escape from freedom whispers its paradoxical truth. The authority you seek isn't protecting you from freedom, it's protecting you from the responsibility of being fully human. Your need for approval reveals not your inadequacy, but your fear of your own power. The boss isn't your father, your fear is. David, a marketing director in Austin, spent 6 years seeking his CEO's validation. He adjusted his strategic vision, his leadership style, his very sense of professional worth to match what he thought the CEO wanted. When he finally earned a seat at the executive table, he discovered he'd forgotten how to lead from his own authority. When did you last make a decision based on your own authority? When did you last trust your judgment over hierarchical approval? When did you last feel your worth without external validation? Your freedom has become a second shadow, following every choice, darkening every moment of authentic expression with submission anxiety. The mirror moment arrives like a slap. When did you last disagree with authority without anxiety? When did you last trust your own judgment over your manager's opinion? When did you last feel your worth without external validation? When did you last simply be autonomous? When did you last dare to know? The lie only lives if you breathe it. This is the moment of recognition. Your approval seeking isn't protecting you from worthlessness. It's preventing you from discovering your own authority. Every adjustment for approval is a betrayal of your authentic self. But here's what escape from freedom reveals. Systems that require authority dependence are designed to fail. Your human dignity evolved over millions of years to resist external control. The anxiety you feel isn't a bug in the system, it's the system working exactly as intended to make you forget your inherent freedom. The deeper trap is this: your approval addiction has become your identity. You are no longer a human with inherent worth. You are a performer seeking validation. Your authentic self, your autonomous reason, your very sense of human dignity has been colonized by false authority. How do you escape a trap you've optimized yourself into? The self-authoring autonomy begins with a radical premise. Your approval seeking is not a destination, it's a confession. It reveals exactly how much you've forgotten to trust your own authority, how much you've outsourced your human sovereignty to false fathers. The micro-ritual is devastatingly simple. For 1 week, make every decision based on your own authority. Not your manager's opinion, not hierarchical approval, not external validation. Choose based on your own autonomous reason. Notice what happens when you stop seeking and start knowing. The terror and the liberation. This is not about abandoning collaboration. It's about reclaiming your relationship with authority. The self-authoring autonomy asks, what if your approval seeking is actually your authentic power trying to emerge? What if the way you measure authority reveals exactly how much you've forgotten to lead? The transformation begins when you realize that Kant's Saper Audi isn't about rejecting authority. It's about claiming the authority that was always yours. The philosopher knew that true human flourishing requires autonomous reason that transcends hierarchical dependence. Sarah, a teen lead in Seattle, tried the micro-ritual. She spent 1 month making decisions based on her own authority rather than her director's approval. She discovered something shocking. Her leadership became more authentic, her team became more engaged, her decisions became more impactful. She'd been leading from the wrong source entirely. The self-authoring autonomy operates on a different mathematics entirely. Instead of asking, "How can I earn approval?" it asks, "How can I express my inherent authority?" This isn't deprivation, it's restoration. It's the difference between being managed and being autonomous. Remember the foreshadow from part 1. The approval you're pursuing is actually the source of your self-betrayal. The self-authoring autonomy melts down both your approval anxiety and your authentic chains to create something new, a life measured in autonomous action, not external validation. The lie only lives if you breathe it. But here's what happens when you stop feeding it. You discover that your approval seeking was never about worth. It was about control. The self-authoring autonomy reveals that true human control comes not from seeking approval, but from claiming your own authority. The final revelation is both terrifying and liberating. Your approval seeking is not a finish line, it's a starting line. But not the starting line you imagined. It's the moment you realize that every day you've spent seeking approval was actually a day of autonomous authority you chose not to claim. If you continue seeking approval, you'll become the most validated puppet in your own performance. Your approval ratings will grow while your authentic self withers. You'll achieve perfect approval and discover the approval was never the problem. You were aiming at the wrong thing entirely. But if you embrace the self-authoring autonomy today, something miraculous happens. Your inherent worth becomes your abundance. Your autonomous decisions become your validation. Your daily choices to act from authority become your true leadership. The compound interest of fully expressed autonomy outperforms any approval. The lie only lives if you breathe it. I make this pledge to you. I will no longer measure my worth by external approval. I will no longer trade today's authentic action for tomorrow's imagined validation. I will no longer let authority figures define my human dignity. Your approval seeking is not your savior, it's your confession. It reveals exactly how much you've forgotten to trust your own authority, how much you've outsourced your human sovereignty to false fathers. The question isn't whether you'll earn approval. The question is whether you'll reclaim your autonomy before approval reclaims you. The self-authoring autonomy ends with this simple truth. You are already inherently worthy. You were autonomous the moment you were born. Every approval since then has been a forgetting of this original authority. The only prison was the one you agreed to keep building. The sensory details of your approval imprisonment are exquisite. The metallic taste of anxiety before performance reviews. The cold sweat of waiting for authority's judgment. The way your shoulders tense when you calculate how to please the boss. Your body keeps score of every authentic impulse you've murdered with approval seeking. But autonomous authority has its own sensory signature, the warmth of making decisions from your own reason, the lightness of choosing authenticity over approval, the electric feeling of realizing that your human dignity was never in question. It was only your trust in your own authority that was missing. The self-authoring autonomy requires only this: stop seeking your way to worth and start expressing your inherent authority. Every decision chosen from inner authority becomes interest that pays human dignity dividends forever. Your approval seeking was never the problem. It was the symptom. The real disease was forgetting that you were already autonomous. The cure isn't earning more approval. It's remembering that the competition was always an illusion. The prison was always unlocked. You were always the authority and the prisoner both. The final calculation is devastatingly simple. How many more authentic decisions will you trade for approval that never satisfies? How many more moments of autonomous action will you sacrifice on the altar of validation? How much more of your human dignity will you defer before you realize the deferral was the real cost? This is your autonomous moment of choice. Not tomorrow, not when you earn perfect approval, now. The self-authoring autonomy isn't a strategy, it's a remembering that you were already autonomous, a remembering that your dignity was already enough, a remembering that the only prison was the one you agreed to keep building. The lie only lives if you breathe it. Today, you choose to breathe something else. The terrifying, liberating truth that Kant knew, that Fromm discovered, that your autonomous soul has always remembered: you were already free. The only question remaining is whether you'll claim your autonomy today, or spend another day seeking your way back to what you never lost.